everybody. I have today Amal Unbound by Aisha Said, and this book is set in the Middle East, and it is a young girl who is finding out that her family is not as able to pay their bills as she thought they were, and so there is a solution that is not happy for her. But let's start out with I watched from the window as the boys tumbled out of the brick schoolhouse across the field from us. Our class was running over again. Girls shifted in their seats and sneaked glances at the clock above the chalkboard. My friend Hafsa sighed. "And finally, I have some bad news," said Miss Sadia. She picked up a stack of papers from her desk. "I finished grading your math test. Only 5 of you passed." The class let out a collective groan. Now, she hushed us. "This just means we have more work to do. We'll go over it tomorrow and take another test next week." "Those questions were hard," my younger sister Sina whispered to me. We lined up by the chalkboard at the front of the class to get our test. "I should have stayed with the younger class until fall." "Oh, come on, you know you probably passed," I whispered back. "When have you ever failed an exam?" Seema tugged at her sleeves as she walked up to Miss Sadia. It was only in the arms that you could see my old uniform was too big on her. Miss Sadia handed Seema the paper. As expected, Seema's worried expression shifted to a smile. Her steps were lighter before she slipped out of the classroom. "I'm sorry I can't help today," I told Miss Sadia once the room was empty. This was my favorite part of the day, when everyone left and it was just the two of us. The building felt like it had exhaled, expanding a little bit without all 34 of us crammed, 2 to a desk, filling up nearly every square inch of the space. "My mother is in bed again." "Oh, is the baby almost here?" "Yes, so my father said I have to come home and watch my sisters." "I'll miss your help, Amal, but he's right, family comes first." I knew helping family was good, as an eldest daughter did, but this time after school with Miss Sadia wasn't just fun, it was important. I wanted to be a teacher when I grew up, and who better to learn from than the best teacher I ever had? I loved washing the chalkboards, sweeping the floor, hearing stories of her college days. I loved watching her go over her lessons and rework them based on what worked and what hadn't the day before. I learned so much from watching her. How could my father not understand? "I could still use your help with the poetry unit next week," she told me. "Some of the students are grumbling about it." "Think you could convince Hafsa to give it a chance?" "You know how she rallies the others to her side. She'll listen to you." "I don't think she minds reading the poems. Writing them is what makes her nervous." "You think everyone would be happy to write poetry. It's shorter than an essay." "It's different. The great poets, they had things that were important to say." "And you don't have things that are important?" "What would I write about?" I laughed. "My little sisters, my father's sugarcane fields, the orange groves. I love reading poems, but there's nothing for me really to write about. Our life is boring." "That's not true," the teacher said. "Write about what you see. Write about your dreams. Pakistan was founded by the dreams of poets. Aren't we the same earth?" Miss Sadia's dramatic way of talking was one of the reasons I loved her, but I wasn't convinced. It's not that I wasn't proud of my family and our life. I was lucky to belong to one of the more prosperous families in Punjabi village, but it didn't change the fact that I lived in a village so tiny it doesn't even register as a dot on the map. But I promised I'd talk to Hafsa. This is what I now remember most about my last afternoon at school. The smell of the dusty chalkboard, the sound of the students lingering outside the door, and mostly how easily I took my ordinary life for granted. So there's fixing to be a big change in Amal's life, as is hinted right here. Amal wants to be a teacher. She wants to stay in school, but something is about to happen to change all of that. So try to read Amal Unbound by Aisha Said And if you need help finding it on the CAL's website, just give me a holler. If you're a face-to-face student, it's available here at Williams Library. Hope you enjoy.